Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 26th of November, Sunday, so I hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Now it's 20 to 8 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day, in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Second update will be a little bit late on my Patreon page, in which I will share additional news that will be reported by Russian media, and I will summarize previous week, how it went for our project, as I usually do in informal talks for Patreon community. That's been said. Let's talk about news now, and first of all, breaking news for this moment, which is that Russian air defense systems did repelled mass drone attack of Kyiv regime on Moscow. So according to latest reports, in this case by RT, Ukrainian forces have targeted Russian capital in attempted coordinated drone attack, with at least 20 drones intercepted over the Moscow, Bryansk, Kaluga and Tula regions early Sunday morning, according to Mayor of Moscow and the Defense Ministry of Russian Federation. And even though at this point, as it was reported, all Ukrainian drones were neutralized, one of the drones lost orientation and hit residential building in a Tula city. And as you can see on this picture, I did share information on my Telegram page already. So as you can see here, building was slightly damaged, and one resident of this building was wounded as a result of this strike. Situation is developing as we speak, and if any additional news, of course, I will report about it on my Telegram. That's been said, let's continue with the short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. According to Russian media and Russian language pages, there were some very significant developments on some sectors of the front line, although mainly operational pause is holding, but Kherson direction and Donetsk direction are very active, I will say. And when it comes to Donetsk sector, of course, southern flank of Donetsk sector is priority these days, where Avdiivka city is located. And according to latest reports, Russian forces did manage to establish full control over the southern industrial zone of Avdiivka. I did report about it yesterday afternoon. All the channels did report about it. And also, by the way, according to several Russian military channels, forward units of Russian military personnel did enter the northern industrial zone of Avdiivka, also where this chemical plant, Avdiivka's chemical plant, is located. So quite significant development situation for garrison of Avdiivka becoming desperate as days go by. And also, by the way, some channels did reported that about 100 to 150 Ukrainian military personnel lay down arms and surrender in Avdiivka area, surrender to Russian forces, which is quite a big number. And if you remember, I was expecting this kind of stuff to happen. I was saying that in my understanding we will see a big number or large Ukrainian units to lay down arms and surrender. And seems like my reading of big picture was more or less correct. We now have not just reports about a huge number of Ukrainian POWs, but also we have almost on daily basis reports that Ukrainian units, Ukrainian brigades are openly complaining, making videos from Avdiivka sector, blaming each other for being cowards and running from the positions and so on. So it's a total mess, by the way. Information that coming in from Avdiivka definitely gives you feeling that it's a total mess on side of Ukrainian forces in Avdiivka area. And well, possibly we are observing now beginning of the end of Avdiivka garnison, or Avdiivka Ukrainian defense forces in Avdiivka. But yet again, I do expect that even more Ukrainian military personnel will lay down arms and surrender. Yesterday, dear friends, I did share on my Telegram page video footage, for example, of video footage of Ukrainian trenches, and this is it, by the way. So this is video of Ukrainian trenches in Avdiivka sector of the front line, in Avdiivka direction. Trenches with basically strong points and with everything really. And the Russian forces took control over these trenches without fight, because 110th brigade units of 110th Ukrainian brigade made decision to flee this area without fight. And if you remember, this brigade was one of the brigades that were complaining about other brigades, about 53rd, for example, Ukrainian brigade, that they are cowards and they flee positions and so on. So 110th brigade also did flee from their positions, and that's factual evidence of that. So it's a total mess on Ukrainian side in Avdiivka direction, and in coming days, I guess more and more Ukrainian military personnel will make right decision to save their lives and will lay down arms and surrender. 150 military personnel is a big number, yes, but I expect, this is a company basically, but I expect even larger Ukrainian units on the scale of battalions to do the same, to lay down arms and surrender. And Russian forces, my understanding is that Russian forces are actively working with Ukrainian military personnel and officers to persuade them to stop fighting for Zelensky, his criminal associates, and the Western geopolitical interests, or geopolitical interests of the Western ruling class. So that's, of course, a major development at this point. Situation for a Ukrainian garrison of Avdiivka becoming truly desperate, and it will not take long, like just 3, 4, 5 weeks max, and Avdiivka will be under full Russian control, I believe. And also, dear friends, quite interesting news from Avdiivka about US-made Abrams tanks. M1A1 Abrams tanks. According to some military channels, Abrams tanks were spotted in Avdiivka direction. Although I did not see any confirmed video or photo evidence for these claims, but that's what some military channels reported, and I share this information with you. Let's see if today or in coming days we will see some additional news about this stuff. But dear friends, Abrams is one of the heaviest tanks in the world, and how they gonna operate in fields, on the country roads in Rasputitsa season, I don't know, man. Maybe Ukrainian side will use these tanks as a kind of mobile artillery. That's possibility for a more or less long range combat, but how else they gonna use these extremely heavy tanks, man? I just don't know. Anyway, if Abrams tanks are in Avdiivka direction, I guess we will in fairly short time see destroyed and captured those tanks, captured by Russian units. And of course, another hotspot at this point on line of contact is Kherson direction, where situation for Ukrainian units, especially on the left bank, also becoming desperate as time goes by. Yesterday we had reports that Russian forces conducted local-scale counteroffensive in the Kyiv area to force Ukrainian units from this settlement to flee towards right bank, and according to preliminary reports, southern part of this central region of this village is under Russian control now, although yet again there was no photo or video evidence, so it's hard to tell what's happening here. But situation for Ukrainian units definitely are desperate, and I did share, by the way, this video. For example, this is exactly Kyiv area, if I'm not mistaken, and as you can see here, Ukrainian platoon is running away from left bank, and they almost make it. Boat is coming to evacuate this platoon of Ukrainian Marines, but something went wrong for them. At last moment, Russian side did conduct precise hit, and well, I guess majority of soldiers in this platoon were KIA'd or wounded. That's the situation, by the way, for Ukrainian units on the left bank. It was a trap from very beginning. I was saying that it's a trap. Not everyone believed, or not everyone agreed with my take on the situation on the Kherson region initially, but nowadays I did see in comment section less and less disagreements with me on this topic. It's definitely a trap for Ukrainian units, by the way, and there are so many videos that are too graphic that I cannot share even on my Telegram. But during this, let's say, last 3 or 4 weeks of activization of Ukrainian units in this direction, they already lost definitely more than 1,000 military personnel killed and wounded. For what, really? For what Kyiv regime did sacrifice so many Ukrainian soldiers? For nothing. Just to gain few minutes of media attention in the West. That's all it is, really. Entire this Kherson counteroffensive of Ukrainian forces were media campaign of Kyiv regime, nothing else. And when it comes to other sectors of the front line, dear friends, operational pause is holding all along the front line. As I said, exceptions are just this Kherson and Donetsk sectors of the front line. Rest of the sectors, it's mainly operational pause, artillery duels between the sides, local scale skirmishes and reckoning force operations. Although initiative is in Russian hands, totally in Russian hands, all along the front line, and it's mainly Russian forces that are conducting these local scale offensive operations to improve current positions and prepare ground for future large-scale offensive operations. And this is it when it comes to short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. I will also note that during the previous night, Russian side did conducted large-scale drone and missile strikes on military and logistical infrastructure of Kyiv regime in many directions, including Kyiv and Kyiv regions. And during the day, Russian Defense Ministry probably will share with us additional information about it. But what is known for now, that one of the major tasks for this strike was to eliminate Ukrainian airfields and munition depots and fuel depots on the airfields of on the Kyiv-controlled territory. So, as I said, during the day, Russian Defense Ministry probably will share with us additional information, and I will post about it on my Telegram. That's been said, before I continue with additional news, let me thank, dear friends, all of you for your time and attention. And of course, special thank to members of our community that are supporting my work with donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, and by subscribing to my Patreon page. Without this support, this project would not exist for a long time now. So thank you very much. You are keeping this show running, so thank you. That's been said, let's continue. And well, I did report about repelled a Ukrainian drone attack. Also, by the way, RT is reporting that according to Russian Defense Ministry, Ukrainian side, Kyiv regime lost 2 MiG-29 fighter jets in previous 48 hours. This was reported yesterday afternoon by Defense Ministry, and Defense Ministry was reporting about previous 24 hours. So from this point, it's 48 hours. So Ukrainian side lost another 2 MiG-29s. Let me read several sentences from this news. So Russian forces shut down 2 Ukrainian MiG-29 fighter jets in a single 24-hour period this week, the country's defense ministry said on Saturday. In its daily briefing, Moscow also claimed to have destroyed at least 18 of Kyiv regime's drones at the front line in the same time frame. The 2 MiG-29s were downed in the Ukraine's southern East Dnipropetrovsk region. The military said both fighter jets were targeted by ground-based anti-aircraft systems. So yes, that's quite a big loss for Kyiv regime, of course, and because of this huge number of destroyed Ukrainian aircrafts, especially last several weeks, I guess if Western elites were very serious, or Western so-called ruling class was very serious, or truly meant to supply Kyiv regime with F-16s, then I guess they will intensify work in this direction. Although, well, Russian side probably are thinking, you know, well, bring it on. Let us have some practice on F-16s also. And well, I'm quite sure if Washington will decide to send to Kyiv regime. Of course, it will not happen, but I guess if Washington will make decision to send a few dozens of F-35s, by the way, 5th gen US fighter jets to Kyiv regime, that will not change much on the front line when it comes to outcome of this military conflict. And Russian side probably will be even glad that they will have an opportunity to practice on destruction of 5th gen fighter jets also. So yet again, this is a coin with the two sides. Maybe this total destruction of Ukrainian Air Force will intensify or force Western ruling class to fast track deliveries of F-16s, or maybe this situation will play exactly the opposite role, and NATO member states will think again if it's worth to deliver any F-16s to Kyiv regime, because I don't think that they really want to see reports about destruction of dozens of Western-made fighter jets. So let's see how will the situation develop. I remind you, dear friends, that about like 2-3 weeks ago, Ribber, biggest Russian military channel, did reported that NATO member states already delivered at least 5 F-16s to Kyiv regime by trucks. These planes, according to Ribber, was disassembled, and the fragments were delivered to Ukraine and then reassembled in the Ukraine. I did not see any statements from Russian officials about this topic, just nothing. And Ribber himself did not said a single word after that, or at least I did not see it. And well, I don't even know what to make of it, because Ibar is a big channel, and I find it difficult to believe that he posted this information without having a good knowledge on topic. So maybe some F-16s already are in Ukraine, by the way. Anyway, let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that Russian armed forces, by the way, destroyed two ammunition depots of Ukrainian armed forces. In this case, two ammunition depots of Ukrainian Air Force, and this happened in Dolgintsevo area, and also in area of city of Dnepropetrovsk. So as I said, by the way, Russian side is very keen to destroy Ukrainian Air Force and the Ukrainian airfields and munition depots and so on, and quite successfully doing so. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that yesterday, by the way, previous 24 hours were first time in the 6 months, in the last half of the year, when Belgorod region was not shelled from Ukrainian side, from Kharkov region, which is news on its own. This region was shelled constantly by Kyiv regime, and fact that there was a day when there was not even single shelling of this region, it did become news on its own. I guess Russian special forces, Russian artillery, Russian Air Force did quite a good job to neutralize Ukrainian positions in the Kharkov region from where they were targeting Belgorod region, and maybe because of high number of casualties among Ukrainian military personnel, they made decision to significantly decrease shelling of Belgorod region. That's possibility. Let's continue, and of course, by the way, this interview of David Arachamia, about which I did reported yesterday. And well, everybody is talking about this interview now, quite understandably, because Arachamia basically confirmed everything that we knew about Western involvement in escalation between Russia and Ukraine, and about almost reached peace agreement between Moscow and Kyiv, which was derailed by Western ruling class, and they did send Boris Johnson to Kyiv regime to persuade Zelensky to continue to not sign any peace agreements with Russia and to continue military hostilities. And I remind you, dear friends, that according to David Arachamia, who is a high-ranking official in Ukraine, he is one of the leaders of a ruling party in Ukraine, party that Zelensky is a part of. And according to Arachamia, during the negotiations in Istanbul in March 2022, Russian side was demanding basically Ukraine to stay neutral, Russian speakers to be rights of Russian speakers to be secure, and Russian language to be secure in Ukraine, and that's it, really. That's it. Basic demands from Russian side. And Kyiv regime refused to agree on these basics, really, because Boris Johnson, and when we are saying Boris Johnson, of course we mean all the forces that are standing behind Johnson, because Johnson himself is a puppet and the clown. He is nobody, isn't it? There are some forces, real rulers of the Western world, that are, manipulating with these puppets, and well, they did send Johnson in Kyiv regime to, basically give order to Zelensky that, what, you will sign no peace deal with Moscow, you will continue military hostilities, and that's what they did. And now Ukrainian side confirms this. And yesterday, by the way, Alex Christoforou did great analysis of this situation. He did notice that by admitting this, Arachamia basically also confirmed that Russia never intended to establish control over the Kyiv, and over the entire Ukraine. As you remember, that was a narrative of Western propaganda and propaganda of Kyiv regime that they did force Russian side to retreat from Kyiv. Russian side never planned to establish control over the Kyiv. Main goal for Russian side was to basically pressure Kyiv regime to conduct peace talks, and this task was almost achieved. And sides, by the way, in Istanbul basically have a preliminary agreement on a ceasefire, but yet again, then Western ruling elites get involved in this. They send Johnson, and rest of it is history. And now, by the way, question is why Arachamia may give this interview and make these statements now. What's going on? And point is that, of course, this interview is attempt from Zelensky and his associates to strike back on the West, on the ruling class of the West and their puppets in governments of the NATO member states. And why? First of all, Kyiv is openly saying now that, you know what, all these casualties, all this destruction in Ukraine, all this horrifying stuff that happened since the March of 2022 is due to geopolitical interests of the West. They did demanded from us hostilities to be continued. They did not allow us to sign a peace agreement, and they did promise us all necessary support with money and weapons. And what we have now, we kept our part of agreement. We continue hostilities, but Western ruling elites are turning their back on us. They are refusing to finance us, and they are refusing to send as much weapons as we need. That's a classical attempt of blackmail from Kyiv regime towards ruling elites or ruling class of the West. It's obvious to me. And also, by the way, this interview, which was aired in Ukraine on Ukrainian TV, of course, will raise questions in the society of Ukraine. And many people in Ukraine will begin questioning Western narratives, because if some people in Ukraine, or if majority in Ukraine, truly believed, because of the heavy propaganda, that West was truly cared about Ukraine's citizens and about lives of Ukrainians and their state, they know now from the first hand that it's a lie. It's just lie. Western ruling elites do not care about Ukrainians, and by the way, this is a big blow, I believe, for the West, for the Western ruling elites, because Ukrainian society gonna question everything now, everything, absolutely everything, and they may well turn their back on the West also. Anyway, let's see how the situation develops. But in this particular case, by the way, we have statements from Russia, or comments from Russian officials, from Russian side, about this interview of Arachamia. And in this particular case, one of the Russian senators, Sergei Tsekov, who is a member of Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, did said that Kyiv regime did not agree on peace talks with Russia and the peace deal with Russia because of the lack of experience on the part of Kyiv officials, and also because of the lack of understanding of geopolitical processes. So according to this senator, yes, Kyiv regime, they did not understand what was going on, really, not on the local scale, not on the global scale, which is true, by the way, of course. But yet again, Arachamia, with this interview, by the way, also confirmed that all of them are puppets. All of them are puppets of the West. because he's saying openly that sides were almost agreed on a peace deal, but then Boris Johnson, by the way, some clown from UK came into Kyiv and forced them not to sign peace deal. I mean, come on, man. Come on now. How that even possible? But it is possible because all of these individuals, man, Arachamia, Zelensky, and rest of them, Podolyak, and just all of them are puppets. They are puppets of the Western ruling class, and they are assets of Western secret services. That's what it is, and they are acting according to orders that they receive from the West, from the Western masters. Anyway, let's continue. I believe, by the way, this interview will make still continue to make waves worldwide in the world community, in the world media. So nothing is over yet. This is just the beginning, by the way. And let's not forget that before this interview, which is 100% blackmail of the Western ruling elites from Kyiv, on part of Kyiv regime. Before this interview, there was several visits, by the way, of high-ranking officials from US and EU member states into Kyiv. Several weeks ago, head of CIA, US CIA, went to Kyiv. Then head of US Defense Ministry, Lloyd Austin, went to Kyiv. Also, Defense Minister of Germany and many more officials, Charles Michel, EU bureaucrat, and you name it. There was collection of these high-ranking officials from the West that were visiting Kyiv one after another, and I guess they were pressing Zelensky in some ways, and this is reaction. This is Kyiv's reaction. Maybe Zelensky is refusing to obey orders now, and this is warning shot from Kyiv towards the West. This is definitely warning shot because they have much more to reveal, much more to say to public. 100% sure about it. So situation is getting very interesting when it comes to this political crisis between Ukraine and Ukrainian leadership and Western leadership. Let's see how will things develop. And well, RIA Novosti is also reporting, by the way, that Colonel Douglas McGregor, by the way, world famous US thinker and military expert and voice of reason, by the way, did made comment on his Twitter account or X account, and he said that he did spoke about further developments on the front line and how far Russia will go, and he basically said that Russia can reach Polish border if Moscow wants to, but it's not in the plans of Moscow because Russian leadership don't really want to basically have anything to do with the Western Ukraine. I'm interpreting now words of McGregor, but basically that's what he said, that Russian side, if they want to, they can reach Poland border between Ukraine and Poland, which is true, by the way. If we want to, we can do it 100%. But he also emphasized that this is not what Putin wants, because according to McGregor, it's highly unlikely that Russian government has plans to establish control of the western regions of Ukraine, which is correct, by the way. Basically, McGregor indirectly confirmed everything that I said before about my reading of fate of Ukraine after this conflict will end. And as you know, as I said many times before, my understanding is that once this conflict will end, Russian side will control all the Ukraine. I will give it 99% for this, by the way, that Russian side will control all the Ukraine with the exception of western regions of this failed state. Because, and my understanding is that western regions will become under control of Poland, Hungary, Romania, and maybe Slovakia. That's it, really. Well, I think Colonel McGregor is also in his analysis are moving in this direction towards this understanding of, or this reading of big picture. And also, by the way, RT did report about statements from Colonel McGregor, and he also said that Ukraine basically lost this conflict, and Western ruling elites did lost this conflict in Ukraine. Let me read several sentences here. Ukraine and its Western backers have already lost the conflict with Russia, former Pentagon advisor Douglas McGregor claimed on Friday. The retired US Army colonel and decorated veteran urged Washington and Kyiv to enter peace negotiations with Moscow as soon as possible. McGregor's comments came at the time of depleting Pentagon funds available for Ukraine after President Joe Biden's administration failed to push a $105 billion spending package through Congress, a significant part of which was supposed to go to Kyiv. Well, yet again, of course, Kyiv regime should, excuse me. Kyiv regime, I mean, Zelensky and his associates, if they have any understanding of what's going on, of course, should ask Moscow for peace negotiations, peace talks, and basically should agree on Russian terms, on Russian demands. Long time ago, not just now, but long time ago, because they definitely lost. Western ruling elites definitely lost with this conflict with Russia, and Kyiv regime also lost, undoubtedly. But yet again, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, negotiations. I mean, after this conflict will end, there will be no Ukraine as a state left. I'm 99% sure about that. 99%, by the way. Vast majority of Ukraine will be controlled by Russia, and directly or indirectly, but will be controlled by Russia. And western regions of Ukraine will be controlled by western neighbors of this failed state that are members of NATO alliance. So I will say it's too late now for negotiations, because Moscow have no need to negotiate with nobody. At this point, Moscow will just put on the table ultimatum. That's how it's gonna go down, by the way. Moscow will put on the table ultimatum, and that's it. And the Kyiv regime and Western backers of Zelensky and his associates will have to agree on this. That's it. There can be no negotiations. Russia won this confrontation 100%, and Russia definitely is in position to speak with the Western elites with the language of ultimatums, with language of demands. And longer this conflict continues, more harm will be done to not just to Kyiv regime, by the way. Kyiv regime is doomed already, but more harm will be done to influence of Western elites themselves, or Western ruling class. And they knew it, and that's why they are now in kind of hurry to somehow, end this conflict one way or another. And that's why we are seeing more and more, by the way, reports in Western media outlets about necessity of peace talks, and that's why topic of peace talks did becoming a major topic I will say, in the West, and many officials are now talking about it, because they knew the longer this conflict continue, more and more damage will be done to reputation of the Western so-called ruling class and their influence worldwide. But anyway, not everybody understands this, of course, and especially in the Western so-called high-ranking, among Western so-called high-ranking officials. And this news here is primary example when Foreign Minister of Germany, this Annalena Baerbock, did make a statement, did make speech while on some conference with the Greens, if I'm not mistaken. And well, she continued to brag about Ukraine and how important Ukraine is for EU and EU's geopolitical interest. Does she even understand what geopolitics means, man? Come on. It's a shame, by the way, that this type of people like Baerbock are talking about geopolitics, man. Does she even know like geography on the at least on the school level? I'm not really sure about it, you know. And she's talking about some geopolitical stuff. It's not even funny, man. But I mean, what else can we do, man? We can just laugh, isn't it? Anyway, let me read several sentences. So the EU and NATO will continue to back Ukraine as it is geopolitically critical to their own interests, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock has said, speaking at the Green Party conference in Karlsruhe on Saturday. Baerbock asserted that the European Union must accept Kyiv as it can no longer afford any grey areas in Europe. It's in our geopolitical interest that Ukraine joins the European Union, which is why we will not only continue to support for Ukraine, but also strengthen it in the EU and the NATO. She said, stressing that Europe is our life insurance, and that's what is important and geostrategically crucial. I mean, I don't know who wrote this speech to her, but whoever did, they should realize that when people like Annalena Baerbock are talking with this in these terms, geopolitical, geostrategic, and so on, I mean, no one can take these people serious, man. Write some simple speeches for them, because these idiots definitely have no understanding what they are talking about, and everybody knows this. So that's a prime example, by the way, that not all high-ranking officials in the West do really understand what the hell is going on. They have no clue, by the way. And Annalena Baerbock is a prime example. I feel sorry for German citizens that they have this type of high-ranking officials, man. And Scholz is no better. Let's be clear here. Scholz is definitely not better, man. 100%. Let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that Switzerland, by the way, for whatever reason, made decision to send $110 million to Kyiv regime, formally for humanitarian means, so that Kyiv regime will use this $110 million, for example, for demining processes. Yet again, Switzerland destroying its reputation on unbelievable speed. If they have any left, I mean, Switzerland lost its reputation of a neutral state for a while now, worldwide, and I guess at this point there is no need to, camouflage their intentions. They can, say openly that yes, we are sending these people to this money to Zelensky and his people because we are Russophobes and we want more Russians to be killed, or we want all Russians to be killed. That's what Swiss government wants. That's why they are sending money to Kyiv regime, and just say it, for God's sake, because we know you are Russophobes. You want all of us to be killed here in Russia. We understand this, and no need to play these games, man. Like, oh, For humanitarian, what humanitarian reasons, for God's sake? It's a war zone. You cannot demine nothing until active phase of military operations are ended. These idiots, man, they cannot even come up with a justification, proper justification, man. What a shame, man, what a shame. There was times when Switzerland was well-respected state worldwide. And what current leadership of this country did to this state, man. I mean, it's just unbelievable, man. Russophobes and mass murderers, man. Russophobes and Nazis and fascists. That's what they are, really. And they really are, by the way. Let's not forget that they were very actively working with fascists. You know, with Nazi Germany. This Swiss elites at the time, and I guess the current elites of the Switzerland are descendants of those Nazis and fascists, mainly. And then they hated us, Russians or Soviet people then, 70 years ago, 75 years ago, and they hate us now. Nothing has changed, really. Anyway, let's continue, man. Who cares about Switzerland? What a joke, man. TASS news agency is reporting that Volodin, by the way, head of Russian State Duma, made quite strong statements towards people that flee Russia when special military operation began, and then when mobilization, first wave of this partial mobilization, took place. And well, let me translate this, man, because I want to be precise. So quite a strong statements. I don't really share this level of anger that Volodin is demonstrating towards those people. But anyway, let's read it. So Russians who have gone abroad and decide to return back to Russia must understand that no one is waiting for them back with open arms. This opinion was expressed by State Duma, which is parliament, by the way, chairman Vyacheslav Volodin in his Telegram channel. Many relocants who returned to Russia did not find work abroad, and those who returned from abroad must understand that no one is waiting for them here with open arms. They committed betrayal towards Russia and their relatives and the loved ones, Volodin wrote. He also recalled the Russians who left Russia for Israel, who received citizenship there but have not decided to return, thereby abandoning their obligations to defend the state of which they become citizens. We have one homeland, Russia. We must be with it in a variety of situations, summed up chairman of the State Duma. When it comes to patriotical stuff, okay, everything is understandable, but I have issue with this part of his statement when he calls these people traitors. Basically, he said that they committed betrayal towards Russia and their relatives and the loved ones. And here, by the way, I have a difficulty to agree with him because treason is a specific crime. You cannot call treason traitor to anybody that you disagree with or you find actions of whom disgraceful. If it's not a crime, treason, which is I mean, in laws, it's written quite understandably what is treason, isn't it? So if these people had no classified information and did not share any classified information with the foreign powers, if they did not act against Russia on behalf of foreign powers, then they are not prisoners. You may say that they scared for their lives and flee country when some of them, at least, when mobilization began. That may be true in some cases. You can say, you know, they were not not really loyal to Russia, politically speaking, well, while leaving Russia when special military operation began, and that can be understandable. They were maybe not really loyal, yet again, politically speaking, but they are not treasoners, man. They are no, they didn't commit any treason, according to law, as I understand. So this is a too strong statements, and I don't think these kind of statements are helpful, because many people who left, by the way, they did act on emotions, maybe based on emotions. They didn't understand what the hell was going on, and now maybe some of them realize that, you know what, once they see what real intentions of the Western ruling class is, and maybe they learn some more about this geopolitical stuff, they may, you know, realize, they may understand a little better. And many of those people, by the way, are professionals in their fields of expertise, and I don't think it's good stuff to call them prisoners and basically create additional psychological barrier now for them to return to Russia. Why you are doing this, man? You may disagree with actions that they took. I disagree. I don't understand why they flee Russia, man. I truly don't, but I don't call them prisoners, because they are not. You know, they may make mistake. Okay, everybody does makes mistakes, but mistake is not treason. So I don't know what happened. Maybe Volodin got angry on some specific individuals, and he splashed out his anger on Telegram this way. But he is a high-ranking Russian official, and whenever he says something, people are reading and reacting on it. So that was a little too much, I guess, from him, to call all those people like traitors, directly or indirectly. I mean, come on, yeah. Anyway, let's continue. But this is, by the way, highlights. This is not just Volodin, by the way. This topic highlights that there are some divisions inside society, because many people are maybe little angry and disappointed on towards those people who flee Russia. And some of them, by the way, of course not all of them, but some of them are, of course, public figures that had some respect previously in society, and many people are upset because, I mean, they don't understand why their favorites, let's say, favorite public figures act that way. So, you know, this is a topic that, yes, creates some divisions inside, slight divisions, by the way. This is not something extraordinary, but does create some divisions inside society. Anyway, let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that from Plisetsk Cosmodrome, by the way, Soyuz 2-1B rocket was launched with a satellite for Russian Defense Ministry. Well, this is quite interesting, because this year, by the way, and the previous year also, we definitely did see significant increase, not just of inactivity, not just in Russian military-industrial complex, but also in terms of increasing Russian satellite grouping in the space. And I don't want to be mistaken, but this is definitely not the first and not the second launch with satellites for Russian Defense Ministry. So I guess Russian military-industrial complex is quite effectively are increasing productions, not just ordinary military stuff, military weapon systems like tanks, armored personnel carriers, howitzers, planes, and so on, but also satellites, by the way. So this special military operation somewhat may become a trampoline for Russian scientific community to significantly increase potential when it comes to satellite building. Because today, okay, priority is the satellites for defense ministry, but tomorrow in peaceful times, this additional knowledge, additional expertise definitely can be used in civilian space programs, isn't it? So that's why I did make decision to share with you this information, because well, it's quite important in my understanding. More and more launches of satellites for defense ministry, and I believe this expertise one day will serve civilian space explorations also. And now let's continue with some other news. How long is this update, man? It's already 55 minutes. Wow. Okay, I will just go through headlines. By the way, TASS news agency is reporting that Israeli army did made statements that after ceasefire in Gaza Strip will end, they will continue military operations in Gaza. RIA Novosti is reporting that, well, Hamas and Israel did conducted second exchange of hostages in a framework of current temporary peace deal. RIA Novosti is also reporting that Israeli army, by the way, Israeli militaries did open fire in the direction of UN peacekeepers in southern Lebanon. That's how crazy situation is in that area, by the way. That, I mean, now they are shelling UN peacekeepers also. Unbelievable. Of course, it's a mistake, yes, but well, this type of action definitely indicates intensity of pressure in that area. RT is reporting the Chinese Navy chases of US destroyer. That's also quite interesting and also very, very unfortunate development, because we don't really need these major superpowers to end up in direct confrontation, no matter it's Russia and US or US and China. We don't really need any more confrontations in this world. But anyway, let me read several sentences. So Chinese military had chased away a United States warship near the disputed Hisha Parselis Islands in the South China Sea. A spokesman for the People's Liberation Army said on Saturday, calling the Washington security risk maker and the biggest destroyer of the peace and stability in the region. Well, unfortunately, US under current leadership, and let's be clear, under leadership of many other presidents, was a major troublemaker in this world. That's true, by the way. That's true. And well, after all, one may ask, these islands are disputed between China and between its neighboring states. South China Sea is a very difficult area. Yes, but these territories are not disputed with US, isn't it? US don't really have any claims on that islands or archipelago, isn't it? So why they are provoking China by demonstrating this force? I mean, they're gonna scare China? I mean, really? It's not good, by the way. It's not good when superpowers are playing chicken. It's not good. One day they may start shooting each other. That's not serious stuff. But anyway, let's continue. Well, I will jump through some news, by the way. So NATO state rises interest rates to 40%, and this is Turkey, by the way. Inflation in Turkey is immense, like 61%. At least that was in October. And Turkish Central Bank made decision to increase interest rates to 40%, which is, well, I think 50% is too high that we have here in Russia, interest rates from central bank, but 40% it's something, wow. But yet again, no surprises. The Turkish economy is experiencing some difficulties. It's known for quite a while. Also, by the way, Germany today could do what Hitler did, but faster, said Hungary's top MP. He was very critical of current leadership of Germany, and basically he said that if Hitler needed 12 years to destroy Germany, current leadership of Germany will do it faster. Will do it faster. This was said by, let me read a few sentences. Germany is destroying itself faster than under Adolf Hitler's rule, while the UN is nothing but a front company for propaganda. Hungarian parliamentary speaker Laszlo Kovar has said, the senior MP, well known for repeatedly making various controversial statements, produced a flurry of inflammatory remarks on Thursday when he spoke at the Sovereignty Protection Forum held in the central Hungarian town of Jazapati. The speaker launched a bitter attack on Germany, comparing its current leadership to that of Hitler's era. We have no reason to be happy that the Germans are destroying themselves and are doing so with whirlwind speed, perhaps faster than Hitler did, Kovar asserted. Hitler needed 12 years to accomplish this. Those who are now in Berlin do not even need 12 years to send Germany to the ground in every sense, economically and socially, and well. Comparisons may be like too harsh, but when it comes to economical degradation of Germany, I mean, you cannot argue with factual evidences, isn't it? Germany is on the brink of recession. Germany's economy is not feeling good at all, and there are some issues when it comes to social fabric also, and social security, and current government of Germany is disaster, by the way. Everybody sees this worldwide, and I guess Germans also see this, and they will do as much as possible to remove these crises from government, I guess. Anyway, let's continue. According to Bloomberg, by the way, several EU member states want to minimize or to soften EU sanctions, EU's 12th package of sanctions on Russia, especially when it comes to items or goods that will be banned to export in Russia. Well, I guess many governments in European states are beginning to wake up and realize that sanctions or not, Russia will, through alternative means, will receive whatever it needs, really, one way or another. And if anybody will be harmed with these additional sanctions and bans for export of these goods and that goods, if anyone will be harmed, it's producers and manufacturers in EU. And because of this understanding, I guess more and more countries, by the way, eventually will demand from Brussels these sanctions to be softened as much as possible, or maybe even lifted. Not now, of course, but it will take time. But we will get there when EU member states will demand from Brussels sanctions. Initially some sanctions, and then probably majority of sanctions or all sanctions to be lifted from Russia. It will take time, but we will get there. RIA Novosti is reporting that well, Prime Minister of Bavaria was also critical of current government of Germany. Bavaria is a land in Germany region, richest region if I'm not mistaken. And well, according to Markus Söder, Prime Minister of Bavaria, current government of Germany has no idea what to do with the budget crisis, have no idea what to do with the economy, with the country. I mean, he was furious, man. He was furious, and well, yet again, everyone probably understands this. RT is reporting that British household debt to balloon. The burden is expected to shoot up to 151 billion by 2026, according to Tax and Spending Watching. So household debt in the UK will rise from the current level of 73 billion, which is $92 billion, 73 billion pounds, by the way, up to 119 billion in 2026. The Office of the Budget Responsibility reported this week the increase means that average debt load per household will surge to the equivalent of around $6,700. Well, housing crisis, it's a big issue, not just in UK, but in US, just in any Western countries, really, because usually all the houses have been bought through mortgage, and when economical crisis strikes, of course, it does becomes significantly difficult to pay your mortgage, and you know, no surprises, really, no surprises. Germany RT is reporting that Germany to terminate energy price breaks. That's also quite bad news for German's economy and the German households, by the way. Let me read it. Limits on electricity and gas prices will not be extended until March 2024 as previously planned, but will expire at the end of this year. Deutschland Funk radio station has cited Finance Minister Christian Lindner as saying in an interview to be aired on Sunday. So, well, I guess in Germany there was a price limit for companies not to extend prices over that limit, but this limit will end in 2023, and from 1st January 2024 these energy companies will be free to basically I don't know, increase double the prices, and they will probably, so this is also definitely bad news for ordinary citizens in Germany, like this was a bad news for ordinary citizens in UK, that household debt will double in next 3 years. Also, by the way, RT is reporting that Russia sets a new record for gas deliveries to China. Okay, China is becoming major buyer of Russian energy sources. Also, gold prices forecast to hit record high, also reported by RT. Gold prices could soon reach a record to 2,500 per ounce, driven by safe haven investor demand in the wake of global uncertainty and geopolitical tensions. Some analysts are now projecting, well, I was talking about investments in gold for I don't know how long, by the way, because if I had any savings, I will invest in gold. And unfortunately, I don't have any savings to, you know, become an investor, but gold is definitely a way to go, in my opinion, although I'm not financial expert and expert in commodities, but yet again, it's not just me, it seems like, that preferring gold as a seeing gold as a stable commodity that worth investing in. Also, by the way, TASS news agency is reporting that Thailand expects up to 1.6 million tourists from Russia in 2024, which is quite interesting news, by the way. Just imagine if 1.6 million Russian tourists will go to Thailand, according to expectations. I guess several more million people will go in some other countries. And if so many million citizens in Russia are making good enough money to have to afford vacations outside of Russia, then I guess this is one more indicator that well, economy in Russia does more or less okay. RT is also reporting that world's oh, and this is gonna be last news for today's update. Finally, how long is this video, man? Okay, 1 hour and 10 minutes. Okay, so RT is reporting that world's largest iceberg heads towards site of Titanic tragedy. Wow. So an iceberg roughly equivalent to 3 times the area of New York City has broken free from the ocean floor and has begun drifting north toward the so-called iceberg alley. Scientists have reported the iceberg, called A23A, is largest in the world at a colossal 1.5 square miles, or for 1,500 square miles, or 4,000 square kilometers. It broke away from the Antarctic coast in the 1986, but soon grounded itself in the Weddell Sea, effectively transforming the area into a giant ice island. After remaining in sight for some 37 years, however, scientists confirmed on Friday that satellite imagery has shown the trillion-ton hunk of ice drifting north past the Antarctic peninsula, backed by strong winds and ocean currents. So, well, that's also quite interesting that trillion-ton iceberg is moving somewhere in the ocean. Well, yet again, one day. There are cycles on Earth, isn't it? There are global warming, and then our ice age. So now Earth is entering this global warming age, and once ice will be melted just about everywhere, and water will become less salty, which will distract currents in the ocean, especially Gulf Stream. Then ice age will begin, I guess, and it will last for a couple of thousand years, or maybe few dozen of thousand years, like 10, 20, 30,000 of years, and then global warming will begin again. And then that's how it happens constantly on this planet. I remind you, dear friends, that last ice age ended just about 10,000 years ago. So it is what it is, man. Quite interesting news, and I will end this update now. Hopefully you will find this video interesting, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary about any topic you like. This is the only way we can fight back this immensely unfair algorithm of YouTube, and aggressive algorithm of YouTube. And for very same reason, if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on any of the platforms you are active on Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, any other. And dear friends, if you think this channel is interesting, informative, and deserves to exist, Please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, buy me a coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You can see links under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. Well, this is it for now. I remind you, dear friends, that today afternoon, about 7 o'clock Moscow time, evening, I will have a live stream. So I hope you will find time to join the conversation. And well, this is it for now. Take care and see you soon.